Okay guys, so welcome back to my channel again, and welcome back to another video. On this video guys, I'm going to show you what I do with these type of connectors that I have. So these are like little connectors that are gold plated. There's little bits of gold plating on the caps and stuff from CPUs. A lot of these are very tiny little pins. So you can see there they're gold plated on the outsides but not on the bottom, stuff like that. Again, some more gold plating there on that bit of metal, and I also have these pins which are impossible to pull out for me anyhow out of these plastic things. So no matter how I try to get them out, they break off or they whatever happens to them. So I've got them as well, and what I'm going to do guys is I'm just going to chuck them all in a jar, and then I'm going to add some water and I'm going to add some nitric acid to it. Before we start with the nitric acid and stuff like that, I will be wearing my gloves, so make sure you're wearing gloves guys when I go to do it. I'll have the gloves on, you'll see that in the video. I'll also be wearing my mask, so to make sure that I don't get any of the nitric fumes into thing. I'll also be putting this jar into another jar, so that if we get a spillover, it's not going to go all over the place. And then it'll be put in under the fume hood, but for the moment I'll be putting it outside actually, because the weather is very good. It's very hot, so I'll be putting it usually with a bit of heat under the fume hood. But what I'm going to do for the first while the weather's good, I'm just going to leave it outside because I'm not in no rush for it. So I'll let it work away outside, well ventilated. Don't put it in an area where the fumes can build up or anything like that guys. Just let it be well ventilated, and can't do any damage to any metals or can't do any health risk to anybody around you. So make sure that you have a safe place for doing it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour them in there, and I'm just going to drop these in as they are with the plastic on them. I just want to see how it turns out. I haven't done it before with the plastic on it. It's just I was thinking might work, may not work. And all I'm going to do is add distilled water and nitric acid. As you know already guys from your time in school, add the acid to the water, not water to acid. So make sure you do it that way around and you don't do it the other way, or you'll have a boil over, a lot of fumes, a boil over, and it can be quite dangerous. So I'm going to just turn the camera off for a second. We're going to go to the shed. I'm going to get my gloves. I'm going to get my gloves and my mask, and we're going to do that, and then I'm going to set it up on a table outside in the sun and let it work away. Okay guys, so I have my mask ready, my gloves are ready. So again, I'll be wearing the full face mask, and I'll be wearing the gloves as well. So I won't be talking when I'm doing this. You'll just see me pouring the water in first, just enough to cover it probably, and then I'll be adding a little bit of nitric acid to start off, and I'll keep adding a bit more nitric acid as the process goes on until I see the reaction is happening in the right speed. I'll be leaving it out in the sun. I'll be putting a wash dish on the top of it to just allow any of the vapours to fall back down into it, and we'll see how it progresses from there. So let's go out and let's get this running. Okay guys, so I'm just out in the shed now, we're about to get started. So first I'm just going to add the water. I don't need the gloves on yet because I haven't even opened the nitric acid. I'm just adding the water first. So this is distilled water. I'm just going to cover them in distilled water because I'm going to use a dilute nitric acid formula. So let me see how many mils I put in here because I want to try and... Okay, so that's about 100 mils of water gone into that jar. Now I'm just going to put the gloves on and we'll put the mask on, and we'll be ready to go then with the nitric acid. I'm just going to add a small bit to start off with. Be careful of boil over, stuff like that. So you'll probably notice my voice changing. I said I wasn't going to talk through it, but more than likely I will, because I always say I won't and then I do. So gloves are on, full mask going on. Just tighten up the mask right, make sure there's no gaps. Okay, and what I'll be using for my little wash dish is something like this. It just sits over it. So you can see there, it just sits over it. and that'll work as a wash dish, and then we'll put this outside then in the sun and let it work away. So this is my nitric. So there's markings on the bottle. So again, I'm going to put about 20 ml of nitric in with the water. So very slowly I'm going to add 20 ml. You can see the reaction straight away. It's vigorously burning. That's 10 ml. 20 ml gone in. So you can see the reaction straight away. It's bubbling away there. So I'll leave that to do its work. I'll put it out in the sun and we'll come back when it's done, and we'll come back every so often and check in and see what it's like. So guys, as you can see, I've left it out in the sunshine there now at the moment, so we'll leave that for a good few hours and we'll come back and see what it's done bubble wise, and you can see the gas is building up inside of it. So I still have my mask on even though it's outside. I still have the mask on while it's working away. You can see the fumes inside changing colour, so we're getting that brown colour from it reacting. So that's dissolving the gold or the base metals away, and I should be just left with gold floating on the surface afterwards. So we'll come back and check it later. So guys, what I'm going to do now, as well as I have more little gold pins here, I'm just going to add them to the solution. I'm just going to put the gloves back on and I'm just going to take the top off and I'm going to add them to the solution. So again, just make sure it's well ventilated where you're doing it, that you're not going to get any odours of gases inhaled. So you can either put your mask on, but for this one I won't bother putting the mask on because it's outside. It's in a well ventilated area. So what I'll do first is I'll lift the cap off to let the gases out. You can see the gases coming out. And we're just going to pour these in. So you can see the reaction there straight away. It's just reacting with the bubbling with the solution. So I'll put the wash dish over it again. You'll see the gases build up inside again. So we'll leave that working away. That was just some more pins I had that I meant to add at the beginning that I didn't add, so I'll just add them there. It makes no difference to it. It'll just be, it's again, there were gold plated pins that I'd lying around a small amount, and I just decided to throw them in with this solution that I'm working on. So that's just dilute nitric. That's all I'm doing there. So all I'm really doing is dissolving the base metals to allow the gold to float on the surface. So eventually what happens when all the base metals are ate away, we'll just be left with the gold. The nitric won't damage the gold, it'll just eat the base metals underneath it, and we'll just let it. Now it can take a long time depending on how much base metals are in there, and you may need to add more nitric when there's no more reaction. You just add more nitric, and I'll keep doing that until I see that all the base metals are gone, and we'll be able to filter it then, and we'll be left with our gold flakes from the pins and the caps and all them other sort of solutions, and all the base metals should be gone. So let's see what happens in a few days time. Okay guys, so it's been about 24 hours since I put them gold plated pins into the nitric and dilute nitric solution. So what I'm going to go give you a look at it now, and I'm also going to add some more pins into it. So the likes of these pins that are still in the plastic and the likes of these ones in here, I'm going to add them and we'll see the reaction. It's just to get a few more pins. I'm not really worried about weights and stuff at the moment. I'm just experimenting a bit and messing around with it a bit, so that you can see what happens. So again, I'll have the gloves on. It's outside, so I may have the mask on. If I do, you might be hard to hear me. Depends on which way the wind is going or the air. If I feel that I'm in danger of fumes, I'll have the mask on. If not, you might hear me speaking normally. So we'll go outside and we'll see how this reacts when I add these pins to it. You'll probably see some of the gold floating around already in the actual solution. So it has worked very quick on the pins I put in yesterday, so that's why I'm putting more in, and we get a right look at it. So let's go outside and have a look. Okay guys, so we're outside and you might see some fumes when I remove the top from this. Oh, there we go. Just let them disperse first. So you can see quite a strong reaction. I'm actually going to put the mask on just in case. Okay, so I've let them disperse first, to let the fumes disperse so we can see it a bit better before I add any more pins or anything. So we can zoom in a bit into the solution and we'll get a good look at it. So you can see in the solution here there is some gold floating around on the surface. I think you can see it there. The solution is quite warm and you can see the gold actually floating around in there, and it's still reacting vigorously, so we know that it's working. So you can see there the gold in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these other gold pins. So I'm just going to tip them in and we should see reaction. A little bit of bubbling, nothing major at the moment, and again we put them in, and I'm going to just add a small little bit more nitric to it. So again, I'm just adding a little bit more nitric too. That'll be enough to get the reaction I want going. And I'll just give it a quick stir. Now, so what I'll do is I'll leave that again to settle and work away. I'll just zoom out. You can see it's gone a bluey, very bluey colour. And we'll just put while I move it, I'll put the lid on so it doesn't spill everywhere. I just want to show you where I have taken some of the solution off, and you can actually see the gold if that'll focus. You can see the gold floating around inside, so that was just some I siphoned off, which I'll filter off later, and we'll have the gold in it. So let's check back when these are fully gone and we'll see how much gold we ended up getting in the end. So see you in a while. Okay guys, so we're ready to start the filtration. So this was the bit I just took off the top of the, well not the top, I emptied some of the floating gold that was floating around on that nitric solution. It's in diluted water. So I just diluted a bit with water to take the edge off the nitric. So it's very little, it was just where I washed it out. So we're just going to filter that through. And then again I'll just wash out the filter if need be, or the jar. I'm just going to see if it's any bits of gold left inside the jar. Just squirt a bit of water in there in case you won't know what I'm doing. I'm just squirting some water in through there, just to see if there's any little bits of gold floating around. There is, and we'll just pour them off in there. So the jar is completely empty. I'll just let that filter down. You can actually see some of the gold floating around in there. If I can zoom in, we'll just move the jar over a bit so it looks easier to zoom in on. So too much of a zoom, come back out. You should be able to see some of the gold floating around there on the actual surface. Just see will it focus itself. No. Sorry about that guys, not the best camera in the world, but you can actually see it there floating around in the liquid. You can see actually some of the gold down there at the bottom. When I tilt it, you can see the shine of the gold. So that was the goal of taking off some of the pins. I have a lot more to do. So we'll just filter this through and I'll get the next lot ready for filtering through. All I'm going to be doing next lot now will be the actual nitric will be still in there. So I'll be wearing the mask when I'm doing. This was just a little bit that I took out and I've watered it down, and then I've just washed it already. Some of the gold foils, I've washed them, and there's very little nitric left in it, in the solution, if any. Maybe a bit from the colour there you can see, but we'll just let that filter through, and I'll get the next lot ready for filtering. Next lot I'll have the mask on because it will be a stronger nitric. So it's all very important again that you wear a mask when you're dealing with the nitric for any of the fumes that may come off it. So again, I might even filter it outside as well as putting my mask on. I won't bother doing it in the shed. I'll filter it outside in the air. Okay, so we'll get ready to filter the next lot. So guys, I've poured off the nitric into another container, and I'm left with what I'm left with at the moment is inside of here. So this is what I had put into the solution at the beginning. So as you can see, it was all bits of boards and pins that were wrapped in plastic or encased in plastic. So you can see in there there's still some gold foils floating around in there. So again, I'll filter this off. I'm going to take out the plastic. I'll put them in a little plastic tub, and I'll filter through the water, and I'll wash any of the foils that are still on the plastic into a container so I can put them through the filter. And then we'll do the main nitric solution, which again should have some of the foils floating around in it, but maybe the bulk of them might be here in the bottom of this. So as you can see, it's pretty cleared up. I've washed it a few times so that the solution will be, but you can see the foils down here at the bottom. So it's a matter of, I'll take out the plastic. After I filter this liquid through, I'll run this liquid through next in through this filter before I come to the nitric stage, where I have most of the nitric solution. So I'm just going to run this through this solution as well. So you can see in here, if I pull back the camera, you can see the foil still floating around in there. So I'm going to wash off them plastic bits, any that still have the nitric hasn't removed the foils from. I'll put back into another solution of nitric at some stage. I'll put them in a little container and hold on to them, but I'll just run through them foils there. So this is more just wanted to have a look at something just to see how it will work with the pins that are encased in plastic like that. I wanted to have a look and see how the nitric would work on it. It worked pretty good. I'm kind of really pleased with the way that turned out. Some of them I didn't leave long enough in because I only left it a day and a bit. Not even a day and a bit, I'd say just, well, maybe a day. Slightly over a day actually. So these foils can all go in there. So let that filter through. I have one more dilute solution to put through this, and then the main nitric solution will be going through it, through the filter, and we'll see what we ended up with in that. Only a small bit I've done, so I'm not expecting a lot out of it, but hopefully in a few videos time we'll have more, because I'll be doing more of the pins coming up in some videos. The CPU pins will be coming up in a video. There'll be some of the I have some pins which are fairly heavily plated looking, so I'll be running them through, and hopefully they'll have a good yield off them. This was just more to see how it worked, how did it react with the plastic involved in it, and it seems to have gone okay, but we'll know once we've filtered everything through. Okay guys, so here we are in the shed, and I'm about to pour off this nitric, which contains the remainder of the gold flakes from them pins I was doing. As you can see in it, it's bits and pieces of what the gold was attached to floating around in it, but we'll just try and siphon it off as we can. I'll have to pick these bits out later, but we'll just try and get all that in there. So you can actually see here, you can see the gold still in there. So we'll just put that off. We'll let that drain first, and then I'll wash this through. afterwards we'll put some distilled water through it, wash it through. So once that's all filtered through, we'll come back to it and we'll see how we got on. We'll have to pick out a few of the bits in the top, because as you can see when I take the jar down, you can see stuff floating around in there, little bits of debris, but there is gold also floating around. So we'll let that make its way through the filtration system that I've set up, and once that's done, we'll come back and see what gold we ended up with out of the solution. So see you in a few minutes. Okay, so I have filtered the nitric through this and give it a quick wash with distilled water, but I'm sure there's still going to be traces of nitric, so that's why I have gloves on. You can see the gold flakes in there. I wasn't expecting much, but it's better than what I thought I was going to get, because it was just bits and pieces of stuff I'd thrown around, and I just wanted to see how it would react with the nitric, dilute nitric, and it worked fairly good, which I'm pleased with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wash this out into a tub, so that all the gold and stuff goes down through here. Then I can pick out the bits that I don't want in it. So there's bits of plastic that got into it, and then I'll just put that gold in with some other gold that I'll be doing at some stage through the acariccia. So I'm just taking this off. So again, as I said, there will be nitric on it, so that's why it's important that you wear gloves. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip the cloth or the filter so that it exposes it. So there is some other debris and dust and dirt that came off, which I was expecting. So you can see there, you can see there's like these little plastic bits. So I'll just throw them back into that filter for a minute. I'll just get the spray. So again, I'm just going to wash it with distilled water. At this stage it doesn't really matter, you could wash it with any water, because I'm not purifying the gold yet. So I'm just going to wash this down, and this will be refiltered once I pick the bits out of it, because I want to make sure I get all the gold possible out of it. So you can see the colour of it, it's a strange colour. If anyone knows why it's that dark green or olive green, you can let me know in the comments. So just, again, that could have come from the filter itself, because this was a non-bleached filter I used. So maybe the nitric took some of the colouring from the filter. So this is the job that takes time. I could just chuck it all into acariccia if I wanted, and it would probably work, but I like to do things differently. Anyone that follows my channel will know that. I don't do it the same as everyone else, I do it my way. It works for me. So I think I've had that filter nearly cleaned off. A little bit down this corner you can see like an actual gold ring that came off something that had a little bit of gold on it. So once this is I'd say that's fairly well cleaned off. I don't think there's too much left. A little bit in this corner. A few gold flakes on it. I want to get them all off. Every last little bit of gold adds up. So that filter I'm pretty happy with, done. So what I have here now again is I'm just going to put it through another filter. So I'll just grab a filter. This time I'm going to use a bleached filter. So again, I'll just wet the filter off camera for the moment. Okay. So we'll just zoom back out. So the filter is in place. And I'm just going to slowly pour this through again. And I'll try not to let any of the bigger stuff in this time first. Until we just get rid of. So the filter needs to be adjusted. Filter's not complying with me, but anyhow, we'll make it work. There we go. Yeah, so it's a strange colour, but I suppose it was a mixture of every sort of thing. So just let that filter through first. You can see in under here, most of the gold is still here in this section. So if I wet it down, you'll be able to see it better. Got some nice gold in there. So for instance, up in this corner we have a nice lump, if I can get it. So that's a nice little lump of gold in there. So what I'll do now is I'll pick out all them little black bits that are in there and make sure there's no gold on them. And they were of little connectors, so I'll pick them out. And that should leave me with just the gold flakes, and I'll refilter the gold flakes in through another filter. I'll keep it separate from that first one because that first one I think is just mainly the dirty water or dirty nitric. So I'll filter through these, just give them a good wash. So you can see there's some nice gold like that bit there that were, there it is. Ooh, push them out there. So you can see a nice little bit of gold there, some other small bits of flakes of gold, and there's another nice little chunk here. So you can see it up here in the corner. So some nice, a lot better than I thought. So I'll come back once I've cleaned this up, filtered it through, and we'll see what we have. Again, it's not going to be major, but I only threw a small bit of stuff in. I didn't throw a lot of stuff in, just as a test run. You'll see in future videos where I'll be doing 100 gram stuff at a time. You'll see it, and again there'll be different methods. There'll be the nitric method. I'll be doing using bleach in some of my videos. I'll be using poor man's nitric, and I'll be just doing AR on pins and stuff like that, and I'll also do reverse electroplating. So if you want to see them videos, keep an eye out for them. They'll be coming. Yeah, another little chunk under there. So this will take a little bit of time to clean up. Not that I needed to go through all this, because once you throw this into the nitric and HCl to make aquaregia, it'll dissolve all the gold anyhow, and then afterwards you can go through the process of making sure everything is cleaned up properly. But just for this video I decided to give it a bit more of an effort into cleaning it. So check back in a while once everything is filtered through, and we'll have a look and see what we've got. Okay guys, so that has drained through. And we're left with our gold, so you can see it there. It looks quite nice, nice clean looking gold from the pins and bits of plastic with pins in them and stuff that was awkward to get out. Pins were awkward. I was looking to see which way would be the best way to deal with them. So I think I'll be doing it with this nitric way to get them out. So I just squeeze out some more of that water. Oh, and then we're left with that nice little lumpy that nice bit of gold. It's nice for what amount that was in it. I know people are looking and going, oh, there's probably only a gram there or 2 grams or something like that worth of it, not even of gold which has to be refined yet, but it's just an experiment just to see, and I'm quite happy that the way it did work out. So what I'll do is let that dry, put it in, and I'll do that with another gold refine at some stage. It'll go in with some other stuff, maybe the gold from the CPUs that I'm working on, or the gold from other pins that I've done a video on and stuff like that. So I'll just let that dry out, and we still have the other solution, which is this one here, which has taken a while to come through. I'm expecting to have a little bit of gold. Oh, sorry, under the camera might help. I'm expecting to have a little bit of gold in there, not an awful lot, but it'll all add up. That's what it's all about. So what I'm going to do now, while that's doing that, I'm just going to siphon something into this filter and try and speed it up. Have 2 of them going at the same time, maybe. In fact, I'll just siphon it all into it and let that one run, because I want to give you a look in here, because you can actually see some very, very fine gold in there. So again, that'll be added in, and that'll be put into Aquarija at some stage to further refine that down and get it as pure as I can. As I say, that's just the flakes off some pins, or on stuff like I don't know, do I have any of them here? I don't. They were just pins from slot cards, essentially. They were in the plastic. Here we go. Actually, I have some here. So they were like from these type of things where you can't get the pins out. They're very hard to get out. So they were on them. So you can see that these are actually the ones that I put in. You can see still little bits of gold here that I have to clean off to be added in. So they were the sort of stuff I just threw in because it was awkward to get them off. So I just ate away the gold from the pins, and that's what I ended up with. So guys, I think I'm going to call the video at that, really, because it's not much more. You see, because this has to be re-refined in Aquarija, stuff like that. So this will be just cleaned up, put into a little tub. And once I've maybe 30 or 40 grams of it, I'll put into Aquarija and let it be refined, and then we'll do future drop videos and stuff like that. The drop videos I like to do is something that a lot of people like. So I'll be doing future drop videos. Okay, so that's just, I'm just checking something there. Oh yeah, so that's grand. I'll let that just drip away, and we'll come back. Well, we won't be coming back to this video, but so guys, thanks for checking this video out. See you on the next one. Keep on looking for the gold, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share if you want. Check out my lives on Monday nights that I try and do. Well, I'm not guaranteeing every Monday night, but most Monday nights. If you're a refiner or a knee waste recycler and you want to come along and have a chat, you can come up on the panel, and we can have a chat. Different methods, talk about the way you do it, talk about your videos, stuff like that. You're more than welcome. And to the next one, guys, keep on looking for that gold.